The West Coast is trying to save the day, you could say, by donating hundreds of ventilators to New York, which is bearing the brunt of the coronavirus cases in the United States.
Oregon's in a relatively good place right now.
But where does that leave us and our needs? And if you think you can get away with not being socially distant, as long as nobody knows about it, you should know your smartphone is probably narking on you and keeping Portland weird and quenched from a healthy distance. Here's the story. Good evening. Hi. Happy Monday. I'm Dan Haggerty. Yes, I tried to cut my kid's hair this weekend, and no, I don't want to get into it, so let's just move on. This is the story where we want to hear from you. So send us your questions and your thoughts and your concerns. I was using these cheap clippers, all right? And it's harder to do than you think. Barbers make it look easy. It's not easy. Reach out to me on email, Facebook, Instagram, or use Twitter and the hashtag HeyDan. We'll read some of your comments at the end of the show. They have these cowlicks. Yes, they inherited them from me. I get it, but it's like a tornado up there. Bottom line, it's not my fault. They're 3. It'll grow back. Let's get started with the show. Now, I want to get started tonight with something that at first kind of sounds like a paradox. Oregon, Washington, and California, like every other state in America and virtually every other country on the planet, effectively closed for business right now to try and prevent the spread of coronavirus. Right. We've been doing this blitz of reporting on the need for medical equipment and the importance of ventilators and the fight to get more here in Oregon. But this weekend, we learned that Governors Brown, Inslee, and Newsom are sending hundreds of ventilators back into the federal stockpile so that New York can have them. Oregon is sending 140 back. Washington sending 400 back. California is sending 500. Even China is chipping in here and sending 1,100 ventilators to New York. And man, does New York need them right now. They have more than 100,000 cases of COVID-19, and they're reportedly putting together plans to bury bodies in public land in case they run out of room at the city's morgue. It is that bad in New York right now. But even with all of that said, I'm sure many of you are wondering if Oregon's generosity could come back to bite us. What if we need those ventilators? Our lawmakers fought hard to get them and told us for weeks that we are in critical need. And while we are right now doing a good job, we're flattening the curve, experts still say that the worst is yet to come. So again, what if we need them? We had a chance to ask Governor Brown about that this weekend.
Oregon's in a relatively good place right now because I implemented social distancing measures early, and Oregonians have been complying. And so we were in a place where we could provide the much needed number of ventilators to New York, and I'm really pleased that we were able to help out.
Look, we've done a good job. We stayed socially distant, and now we can help one of America's greatest cities during one of its darkest hours. All the more reason for us to keep up the good work. And of course, Oregon's ventilators being sent with a Heart Oregon sticker on them. Now, the University of Washington has been tracking the metrics of COVID-19. They think that Oregon will see the worst of the virus by April 21st. But even during the peak, according to the numbers we have, we should still have enough hospital beds and still have enough ventilators. The governor is still concerned, though, about PPE, the things like the masks and the gloves and the gowns. We still don't have enough of those. The shortage is still a big reason, too, why businesses will stay closed for a while, even though Oregon appears to be slowing down this virus better than most.
If we take our feet off the brakes too soon, you're going to see a huge insurgence of cases.
COVID-19 is projected to peak nationally in 9 days. All right, now, if you are paranoid about Big Brother, man, tonight's big story is not going to help one little bit. So we just got done, right, tooting our own horn, talking about how Oregon and Washington have done a really great job at flattening the curve. But now tech companies are getting some real hard numbers to show what we've really been doing. They've been tracking our cell phone location data and then sharing it with government health officials. That's right, they can do that. They have been doing that. And you might think that nobody saw you leave the house for that non-essential activity you were doing, but your phone did. And it's narking on you. Here's Kyle Aboshi.
If you've got a cell phone, you might be helping to monitor the spread of coronavirus. Tech companies are using aggregated GPS location data from apps on your smartphone to estimate how effective people are at staying put at home. The data, which does not include personally identifiable information, is broken down by state and even county by county. It could help health officials determine if public policies are working, explained Melissa Handel, Director of Translational Data Science at Oregon State University.
It's a key indicator in understanding how have the overall patterns of people's mobility changed.
The data intelligence firm Cubic found mobility, or the range people traveled each day, has dropped 91% so far this year compared to last in Oregon. Google broke down the cell phone data by location. There's been a 51% decline in retail and recreation activity in Oregon compared to normal at places like restaurants and shopping centers. Google found 22% less mobility in Oregon at parks, including public beaches. And activity at transit stations like bus and light rail fell 47% compared to average.
I think just generally overall, it's a fantastic indicator that people are actually being responsive to the recommendations.
One company, Unicast, that collects and analyzes smartphone location data, launched a social distancing scoreboard that grades which residents are changing behavior. It gave Oregon a grade of D based on reduction in distance traveled and fewer visits to non-essential places. A closer look at the Unicast dashboard showed Oregon counties varied widely, ranging from an F grade in some counties to a B grade in Multnomah County. Thomas Wall, CEO of Unicast.
There's definitely been a clear need to understand and to try to measure how these guidelines are being affected. And I think what I really hope that we will see that states and counties start to learn from each other.
Data scientists admit cell phone location data has its limits, making it tough to compare regions with different characteristics like rural versus urban. But the maps provide a unique glimpse into our movements at a time when social distancing and the right public policy could help save lives.
Okay, Kyle Aboshi joining us now. Kyle, let's first remind people and get them up to speed with the fact that our phones are constantly following us, tracking us, and sending that data to companies.
Right. People may not realize that, but on your phone, a lot of the apps, whether it's sports scores, weather, shopping, whatever, those apps actually provide information to retailers and marketers unless you opt out. And most people, frankly, they don't opt out. They don't look at that fine print when they're downloading the app.
I want people to understand kind of what we're looking at here, though, because it kind of feels a little contradictory. Off the top, we're saying how great we're doing with social distancing, and we aren't seeing this huge uptick in COVID-19 cases. But according to the data we're looking at, we are actually kind of moving around more than we should be. What do we really learn from all this?
Yeah, the numbers are a little bit conflicting. I think in Multnomah County, for example, the most populous county, generally speaking, the experts say the numbers look pretty good, that people are following the advice of the health experts for social distancing and staying home. Elsewhere around the state, it's a little questionable, and I think part of that comes down to how they're analyzing the numbers. Each one of these outfits is looking at it a little bit differently.
All right, Kyle Aboshi with the latest. Thank you so much, sir. Now, I believe there might be a little bit of a misconception out there about masks and gloves, and I wanted to take a moment just to clear things up a little bit. Yes, the CDC started recommending that we cover our faces now when we go out into public, but not the medical kind of mask, right? They still want to have those reserved for doctors and nurses. The masks you should wear aren't nearly as heavy duty. You can even make some of your own at home. Maybe a good project for kids, considering Washington just canceled school for the rest of the school year. But I think it is worth emphasizing that wearing a homemade mask probably won't prevent you from catching this virus. It will, however, help you not spread the virus if you have it, knowingly or not. That's kind of the main reason they want everyone to wear something that covers their nose and mouth. Kristen Severance has some more on masks in just a bit. Now, as for gloves, gloves are not magic virus killers. And I'm not being glib here. We actually got a lot of emails about this sort of thing. Germs will stick to those gloves the same way that they stick to your hands. And if you wear the same pair of gloves all day, you're kind of defeating the purpose. So the best thing you can do is what health leaders have been urging us all to do since day one, which is wash your hands often with soap and water for 20 seconds. Try not to touch your face. Stay inside as much as you can, and do not get false confidence just because you are wearing a mask now. All right, let's step back from all the coronavirus coverage for just a minute and check out some other local headlines that you might have missed. It's time now for In Other News. In other news, a pilot died in a small plane crash in Clark County this morning. The sheriff's office says the ultralight aircraft went down along the Lewis River, just north of the Daybreak Airport in La Center. The pilot was the only person on board. The NTSB is investigating the crash. A man died and a woman was rescued after their kayaks capsized on Silver Lake in Cowlitz County. It happened on Friday evening. The woman was able to cling to her kayak while calling 911. Fire crews pulled her out of the water and took her to the hospital. They couldn't find the man, Robert Chick of Castle Rock. Yesterday, they did recover his body from the lake. A riot broke out at a juvenile jail in Portland last week. Multnomah County told the Oregonian that no one was hurt, but there was damage to the Donald E. Long Juvenile Detention Center. Dispatchers sent out a warning to law enforcement.
Information for anyone who might think about taking a juvenile to JDH. They are having a riot.
Deputies were able to get control of the situation and lock down the detention center. And that's in other news. We got one more little piece of non-COVID-19 news, I think, to cleanse your palate here. I think we all felt the pain when the U of O basketball team lost the end of their season, their chances at a championship. But since then, Sabrina Ionescu has continued to make us all proud by racking up award after award after award. She did it again today. Today, she received the John R. Wooden Award, which is given every year to the most outstanding player. And yeah, that's amazing enough. What's even more amazing is that Sabrina has swept every major individual honor that a women's basketball player can receive. She got the Naismith Trophy, the Wade Trophy. She was voted Best Player of the Year by the Associated Press. You name it, she got it. So congratulations to Sabrina Ionescu. We all wish that you got the season you deserve this year and the championship that I'm sure, I'm betting on you probably would have won. But we all are looking forward to watching to see what you do next when all this is behind us. Listen, I'm not saying that a lot of us are feeling lonely right now. I'm just saying we went ahead and checked with the Oregon Humane Society just to see if they've seen a spike in adoptions recently. And proof that humans can adapt to almost any situation, especially when there's alcohol involved. When the story continues.
Time to answer some viewer questions. So Pamela wants to know, hey Dan, we are hearing from multiple news outlets that homemade masks are recommended for the general public. Why are we not seeing instructions on types of material, maximum time we should wear them and how to clean them? Thank you again, Pamela, for that question. So the CDC has a great FAQ page on this, and basically they say you want the face mask to fit snugly but comfortably against the side of the face. It should be secured with ties or ear loops, include multiple layers of fabric, allow for breathing without restriction, and you want to be able to wash this every time you wear it. But remember, even with a mask on, you have to maintain social distancing. Don't let that mask give you a false sense of security. All the experts say that you can still get coronavirus while wearing a mask. Thank you so much for sending in your questions. Keep using that hashtag, HeyDan. We have been getting a lot of tiger questions over the weekend, like this one. Hey Dan, if test kits for COVID-19 are so rare that average people cannot get them, how is it that they had enough to check a tiger at the New York Zoo? That's from Anthony. So yes, a tiger, Nadia, at the Bronx Zoo tested positive for COVID-19. They think a caretaker at the zoo somehow gave it to her. But here's the thing. The test used for the tiger is a different one than used for humans. The Bronx Zoo said you cannot send human samples to the vet lab, and you cannot send animal tests to the human lab. So there is no competition for testing between these very different situations. Also, there's been no evidence that suggests pets in the U.S. could spread the infection to people, but this needs a lot more research. Please keep sending in those questions using the hashtag HeyDan.
All right, thanks to Kristen. Hey, I wanted to talk to you about something that she actually brought up and mentioned to me over the weekend, and maybe it's something you've been noticing too. Everybody seems to be getting puppies right now. My buddy from high school got this little guy, maybe the cutest dog I've ever seen in my life, and then a colleague in Minnesota posted this, bought this dude, put him in a tie-dye hoodie for some reason. My uncle in Pittsburgh got a mini golden doodle and literally wrote in the post, I did what I said I would never do. Look, maybe it's boredom or quarantine rationale, but my uncle's sudden change of heart on whether to get a dog or not has become so rampant in the UK, the government launched a campaign to urge people not to make impulsive decisions on lockdown. The LA Times reports that the latest shortage isn't TP and hand sanitizer, but dogs and cats, and that shelters and rescue organizations nationwide are reporting unprecedented interest in fostering and adopting. The New York Times said that a care center in the city asked for applications to foster pets. They normally get about 200. They get more like 2,000 applications. Look, I get it. Dogs are awesome. They make us feel better. In a study done by HABRI, the Human Animal Bond Research Institute, pets can lower our blood pressure and stress levels. It found that people who had dogs and cats are just less likely to be depressed all around. But a lot of Portlanders know this already. According to the U.S. Pet Ownership and Demographic Sourcebook, Portland is the one of the top 5 cities for pet ownership per capita. And DogTime.com says Portland is the #1 dog-friendly city in the U.S. But we wanted to check to see if adoptions in our area had gone up. So we talked to a pet rescue in Portland called One Tail at a Time, and they usually get about a dozen applications a week. But in the last 2 weeks, they've gotten 459 applications. So for now, they've kind of hit the pause button on foster applications. Adoptions, those are up about 75% as well. I do want to remind you, if you want to get a dog because you were bored and lonely and stuck inside, it doesn't mean that you can sit on the couch all day cuddling with the pooch. All right, the New York Post warning that pets are gaining the quarantine 15. Experts recommending to speed walk your pet around your apartment. Yes, we are living in a weird time. But you know what you don't need to feed or walk? Board games. Our very talented photojournalist Kurt Austin visited a Tiger board game shop to see how they're helping people, I don't know, stay sane while they're in this era of social isolation. I got 2 words for you that are going to make a lot more sense here in just a minute. Exploding kittens.
For years, recently, it's all been about, hey, you know, the tablets, the screens, and now if you're stuck inside for 24 hours, you can't just be on the screen all day. Games are a great way to do that. Puzzles are a great way to do that.
I'm picking up puzzles, yes, to keep us entertained.
My name's Tate Breswick, and I'm the owner of Versus Board Games in downtown Tigard.
Yeah, we come by once in a while whenever we have a desire for a new game or something. And
we've only been open a year, but we are still able to make sales. It's going to be a really tough go for the next few months.
I think everyone's trying to figure out the new for the next whatever this is.
They're challenging for sure, but people want games, and we have regular customers. With the governor's orders, we're able to let one person to one household come in the shop and buy a game. Cat Lady is one of our most popular games. Here's Exploding Kittens. They're pretty great. Oh yeah, and I forgot one of our best, we're out of it again. Isle of Cats in. You actually sail a boat to an island full of cats, and you fill your boat up with cats. But nuts about mutts. Not nearly as popular as the cats. Not at all. So our traffic has dropped off by half, but people are picking up larger selections kind of to keep with them more than they would have got before. We actually have the numbers, and it's actually almost exactly double. So twice as many, half as many people, twice as much that they're getting.
the more we're able to support out here, the better we see Main Street grow, and we love to see that.
In the last week, we've had to get all of our inventory online so people can shop it that way, because we don't let them browse the store anymore. This will be the most popular game since 2018. It's just a little puzzle game. It's themed around Portugal, a king in Portugal.
It's a pretty simple game. The King of Portugal has returned from a trip to Spain and is thoroughly unimpressed with the state of the Royal Palace of Evora.
So right now, people are just at home with their partner, someone. This is the one. Yeah.
This is literally a game about laying tiles.
Right now it's a great time. Everyone's kind of stuck somewhere, and games are a great way to pass the time as well as pass the time together.
It's going to be a really tough go for the next few months to see which places are able to stay open. And even though I'm able to sell at a consistent rate, if all the other shops don't stay open with me, we still don't have a downtown. So I need the barber shop, I need the bar, and the city's trying, but the customers still make up the majority of what our revenue is. So.
Trying to do that with as much as we can with the smaller businesses is just calling them and seeing, if they have some sort of availability or a way to purchase still their products and stuff, and then make it happen so we can support the smaller local businesses.
Yeah, the best is seeing the families walk home with something that they know they're going to enjoy. And it's just really cool. It's something that we're hoping we can keep here in some way or another. So.
Oh, a lot of great ideas in that store for sure. And I got to be honest, we played our favorite board game this weekend. That would be Catan, the Settlers of Catan. So yeah, I think all the board games are getting a good workout over the last couple weeks and the weeks to come. So you see the Earth spinning here next to me, right? Well, it's still spinning, but it has really settled down. The hustle and bustle that we no longer have because everybody is staying safe and staying home is having an impact. The Earth is vibrating less. Can you feel the energy, people? Energy, people. The Earth is literally vibrating less. Here's what I'm talking about. Check out this seismograph from Caltech University down in Los Angeles. You'll notice the big drop-off as you go later in time. Now, all of the different colors on this graph just indicate different frequencies. It's still showing us the same thing, and seismologists are noticing. They're seeing far less noise, as they call it, compared to the signal. The signal would be an earthquake of any magnitude, but because the planes, trains, automobiles, buses, heavy machinery that we humans operate in normal times is not operating, the Earth is literally vibrating less, and that is being picked up on seismographs. So what does that mean? Well, it means they can pick up more smaller events than they normally could, especially for seismographs that are located around cities. A lot of seismographs they put away from city to reduce what we call the noise. So again, the signal to noise ratio has gotten way better because everybody is staying at home and we don't have as much traffic with cars, with even airplanes taking off, heavy machinery, construction, all of that. So yet another scientific ramification of people staying home because of the coronavirus, and you can see it on seismographs. It's fascinating. And you know, this will be a tool in a couple of ways. First of all, it helps people know which areas are actually obeying the stay-at-home requests or doctrine and which areas are not. So it can lead to some better research saying, hey, in that city or that area, we need to do better in getting the message out, whereas over in that city, the seismographs tell us that we're seeing far less shaking and vibrating, so people are doing a good job. And I'm sure the seismologists will have other research uses for this time period of quieter, human-made seismic activity, Dan.
That's incredible. Thank you for sharing that. That's really, really cool. It reminds you that it's not just a Portland thing or an Oregon thing or a United States thing. It's the whole world. It really, every once in a while, it really does sink in. And that was
all around the world.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. Hey, let's keep Portland weird tonight. Two very adaptable wine aficionados will help us do that. Why do you need to go to a bar when you have a generous upstairs neighbor with a full bottle? Video here started going viral on Friday, and we think we can all maybe collectively relate a little bit to this moment. And something we think is really worth your time. Lizzie Acker, a reporter with the Oregonian, actually tracked down both neighbors and the couple who took the video. They were out apparently walking through the Pearl at the time when everybody started making noise and cheering for healthcare workers, and then they saw this wine incident take place. Lizzie turned this really small, fun moment into a feel-good story about making the best of a tough situation, and we really think it is worth your time to hop on the Oregonian's website and check it out. And you know what? While you're there, consider subscribing too. Hey, we're going to read some of your comments after the break. You can also write in if you want right now. Use the hashtag HeyDan. One thing a lot of you have been writing in and asking to see more of is good news. So we're going to report some good news after the break when we finish the story.
All right, Peach wants to know, hey Dan, is COVID-19 a protein encapsulated with a fat layer? This would explain the absolute necessity for washing hands and hand sanitizer because it dissolves the fat layer and kills the protein. Is this true? Yes, this is true, and this is a good thing. The lipid layer breaks down in the presence of soap, which destabilizes the virus's structure, making it unable to infect a cell. Now, this is lucky because we can all use basic soap and water instead of needing to take, more potentially irritating or potentially toxic measures to clean our skin. Please keep using the hashtag HeyDan. We will do our very best to answer your questions. So Marilyn wants to know, hey Dan, I would like to know if you can get the virus by breathing in exhaled cigarette smoke. So if it was exhaled by an infected person, then yes. If you are in very close contact with that person, doctors say it's possible. Everyone should be making an effort to avoid inhaling cigarette smoke, and this is a great time for smokers to quit. Please keep sending in those questions using the hashtag HeyDan.
Thanks, Kristen. We're going to leave you with something sweet tonight. Kids have been out of school for a few weeks now, and a lot of younger kids probably miss seeing their teachers every day. And we know that those teachers miss the kids too. So today, teachers and staff from Lowry Primary School in Wilsonville got in their cars and paraded around town, honking and waving to their students. It's pretty awesome. A lot of them had signs saying, "We miss you and we love you." And like we said, social distancing doesn't mean social isolation. So this is a great way for students and teachers to continue connecting, even with school now being canceled. We love our teachers. All right, got a couple of comments and questions. Cindy said, can you spray your cloth mask with disinfectant spray on both sides afterward to clean and essentially make them safe to wear again. That's not the best thing to do, Cindy. You should wash your mask in the washing machine on a daily basis. So wear it, wash it, wear it again. We responded to her on Twitter. Keep asking us questions on Twitter and we'll get you answers. Nolan saying, when he talked about my kid's haircut, the difference between a good haircut and a bad haircut is 2 weeks. Yeah, so I guess that's one way to look at it. And then Sheila wants to know how my anniversary went, which was on Sunday. And oddly, it was very nice, considering everything else we're going through. But you know what? That's what it's about. It's about getting together with the people who we love, whether it's in person, you live with them, or on the phone, or on FaceTime, or any way you can, because after all, we're in this together. That's the story for tonight. We'll see you back here tomorrow.